Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your girl JoJo, and we are back for the foolishness. Loving hip hop, not loving hip hop, girl, not loving hip. Y'all remember I used to review Loving Hip Hop? I'm not really sure why, but anyway, ready to love. Miami. This is episode 11, I believe. So, on this episode, Nephew Tommy meets with the ladies because the controller is going to be back with the ladies this week, and this time, they are going to be introducing the fellas to their parents. So, when we get the initial meeting, we still see some tension between Kayla and Jamila. I did notice that they had a little, eye rolls and things going on. But Brandy is first up. She has her parents meet Mike. And Brandy says that she really hasn't introduced anybody to her parents in a very long time, if really at all. She just has not introduced anybody. And so this is very important to her. Mike gets there. I think Mike does a fairly good job of impressing her parents. The daddy said he had all the right answers, but did he have too many of the right answers? Y'all know daddy gonna always give a man a side eye because, daddies know best most of the time. But Brandy, she just seems to be so smitten with Mike, and I'm happy for her. I just don't want this to be a letdown on her end. I want the best for her. She seems like a very sweet person who I told y'all on another review, I want to know Brandy's backstory because I really do feel like she's one of those girls who went with the flow. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Like one of those girls who never really required a relationship from anybody. If she liked you, she only dealt with you. She didn't deal with other people, even though she might have known that you were not her man. She treated you as her man. You allowed her to treat you as her man, even though you knew you didn't want her as your woman. You were just you thought she was nice. You thought she was cool. You were spending time with her until you wanted to be more serious with somebody else. You just were stalling for time. And I wonder if she's one of those girls that just kind of went with it and was in multiple situationships. I don't know. And then her being a flight attendant probably does make it difficult for some men to stick around long term. A lot of times men want you close to them. They want you in the same city, the same area. They need to see you every day and all of that. So that also may have caused a rift into her getting into a long-term relationship as well. And that does get brought up by Mike. He says sometimes he's a little bit nervous about her job. Brandy is annoyed because she already told Mike she can make her schedule how she wants to make it. And if he would like to get flued out to every layover that she is on, he can. I said, oh, you got it like that, Brandy? Well, fly me out then if you got it like that. But, they talk about kids, and Mike says that he knows she wants two more, so I guess he'll have 5 kids. I said, okay. It ain't nothing wrong with that, y'all. People combine families all the time. Women date men with kids all the time. It's just all about the coin to me. Them jokers is expensive. Do we have enough money for all of these children? I don't. Let me not. I'm going to just move on because I could go on about this for a long time, and I know people got their opinions. So then, what else comes up? The daddy had me cracking up because he said, Brandy is into her job. They do a lot of testers, not test, but testers. They do a lot of testers, and you ain't into no drugs, as you might say. He ain't in all that. He don't do that. He not into no drugs. So overall, it seems that he has won both of the parents over. I'm still not sure about the daddy though. The daddy seemed like, if my baby happy, I'm happy. The mama, y'all know how mamas do. All you got to do is compliment them a little bit. We need to do better. I'm not even a mom, but ladies, we're going to have to do better. Can't just let nobody just charm you and tell you got a pretty smile and all that other stuff and we just go for it. You got to give them all the side eye until they prove otherwise. But Brandy's mom is beautiful. She's a perfect mix of both her dad and her mom. All very good looking people. But Brandy's with it, but she knows Mike. She knows that Mike does have another connection. So we'll see how it goes. Kadian and Swayze, it was a nice idea at first, but I think they're just spinning their wheels on this one. And I'm going to tell you why. I think the godmom was saying it without really saying it. She was trying to, maybe off camera, she told Kadian the real. So Kadian met up with her godmother, who's beautiful. They actually look like they are blood related. I don't know if they are or not, but she's a beautiful woman. So that she can meet with Swayze. Swayze comes in with flowers, and him and Kadian, every time they're on camera, they they are, their energy is very, it's kind of difficult, I guess you could say. It's two people that you can tell like each other and are attracted to each other physically, but sometimes I wonder if that's all that they really have. They probably do have a lot of things in common, but the way that they handle situations, the way that they communicate is just not there. Kadian to me seems to be more of a future thinker. She's trying to think of what her life is going to look like in the future, as well she should. And Swayze is more of a right now person. I think that when he says he shuts down when it's time to talk about the future because he doesn't want to be disappointed again, he doesn't want to put himself out there and it not be worth it, I think that is telling Kadian where he is with it. He's not ready. He's not ready to do the things that you're ready to do. And you can decide if you want to wait around for him to get ready. I just don't recommend that women do that because, as I've told you before, I feel like a woman's most valuable asset is her time. So I just don't believe that we should be waiting around on people to figure it out. That's things that a therapist is there for, to help you get those guards down and get you on your way to finding the healthy path of dating that you want. I'm not your therapist, so I don't need to wait on you to become open. Sounds harsh, but it's just that simple. So if he has a lot of guards up, I just think that Swayze should perhaps be a little bit more real about what he's doing as he's dating. And intentional dating is not just to find a partner. You can be intentional if you just want to casually date. You just say, hey, I like you. I think you're beautiful. I love your companionship. I want us to go on some trips together. But I'm not really on a serious relationship type of time. And that is, in turn, ladies, where you tell them, thank you very much for letting me know. I am looking for something a little more serious, so I don't think I can do this. Or you can also say, listen, I got a lot of work stuff going on. I'm not really on that kind of time. The reason why I say this is because I actually understand where Swayze is at. I'm kind of on that kind of time too. I'm just not looking for sex, but I'm just like, we can hang out, we can do things, but as far as a relationship, baby, I ain't got nothing for you. You need to get that from another woman. So just be honest, and maybe you'll find a woman in return that'll say, listen, I'm not on that either, so I'm gonna continue to date other people. And if I meet somebody that I feel like giving my time to permanently, I will be letting you know, and we will stop this. But just be honest about what you're trying to do, that's all. So they kind of have these little things where he's trying to explain himself. Kadian is cutting him off. That happens a lot. And Kadian, baby, you do got to work on that. Sometimes I feel like Kadian thinks she's the smartest person in the room. And even if you are, book wise, it doesn't mean that you can't learn from somebody. And you have to give people time to talk. I hate to see people continuously get cut off, and I hate to get continuously cut off as well. So he's trying to explain himself. She also says that she doesn't like the way he shuts down, which he admits that that's a problem for him. He even states why. And the godmom says he's a nice guy. He seems like a good catch, but y'all got this little thing that you have to work on. And to me, the thing is they don't communicate well, and they're not on the same page with what they want currently. Then Kadian's looking for long-term, serious, leading to marriage. Swayze is looking for kind of a right now type of thing until he heals his heart. And I don't care what you guys say, that whole I've never dated a black woman thing, sorry. It's just that wouldn't have worked for me. But that's just me. You know, every woman's different. And I don't care if he would do it. It doesn't matter. The fact that you've never I mean, he's 33. Like, come on. Anyway, you guys let me know how you think that meeting went. Randall and Jamila. You know, Jamila looks like, she reminds me of Monique from Real Housewives of Potomac. Well, formerly Real Housewives of Potomac. So they meet up with her mother and her sister. Again, them beautiful women. The mama and the sister look like they could be sisters. I noticed her mom had an accent, so I wonder if they're from the Caribbean or somewhere around those parts. Randall's, it started off rocky. All right. The sister was asking questions about him and his connections with other women and how if you're interested in Jamila, you're going to have to put that in check. And he was just like, yeah, but at the same time, she has to allow me to communicate with them. The sister said, elaborate. The sister was me. But Randall, I guess he's not really good at, he did say he wasn't the best communicator during this meeting. But I guess he's trying to say she has to not try to be in control of how I'm doing this process when it comes to the other ladies. But Randall, you do have to be clear about who you like and who you don't like. Like, it's only a few women left. You can't keep doing that. That happens so many times on this show. So anyway, the mom comes through with some note cards from the father. Now I don't know what the daddy was, but I said, "Come through, helpmates. You better represent your husband." She said, I got some questions for you on behalf of my husband. He wants to know, how are you during difficult times? What do you do during conflict? Wants to know how he handles it. And Randall says that's when he talks about him not necessarily being that great at communication and needs to do a little better with that, but he does handle conflict, I guess, in his opinion, fairly well. Asks about protecting. Will you be able to protect and provide for her? And he was like, yeah, I don't think that should be a problem. Like, what you laughing at, baby? Is you nervous? Like, these ain't no games, okay? You better be glad that daddy wasn't there, because I got a feeling he real big. And he not about to play with you. So anyway, it went okay. They seemed to like Randall well enough, but I just... I don't know. I'm not really seeing it. And I honestly don't think he is going to choose her when it's all said and done anyway. But I did like her family. And I did appreciate that daddy sending in his questions. So the interaction between Charisse and her dad and Samson was just weird to me. Y'all gonna have to figure this one out because I'm at a loss. So, first of all, this is first. Everybody's father is not worthy of being a deciding factor in who you should date. If your father doesn't have the character of the type of man that you would want to be with, I don't know if I would be counting on him to help me go through the vetting process. Now, I know her father is married now, but when her father said that Samson, so Samson was like, he'd never been married, and we know Samson is in his, I think, late 40s. And the dad said, "Oh, well, I know you had a good time." Like that right there, daddy. I don't want you to want somebody like that for me. Even though I'm in my 40s as well. I don't want you to want somebody that's like, been having the same good time that you used to have. Well, until you got married. And something tells me the daddy might still have a good time if he didn't look old, because he definitely got that old church deacon look that he can't really be in the streets like that. It's a certain look where you can still kind of be in the streets. You still got to have some money. Either way, but it's a certain old man look that's acceptable, and her daddy doesn't have it. So I don't know. Like, I love my daddy, but I would not count on him to help me. Sorry. Okay, let me just move forward. Now, it was confusing at first because it seemed like the father was like, "Oh, Samson, he's never been married, but he's been to Morehouse. He's got all the credentials. He's got everything on paper." But then when Samson left, the daddy was like, he remind me a lot of myself. I see a lot of qualities in him. And then Charisse was like, "Yeah, see, my dad knows." And he was agreeing because that's my dad just trying not to show his hand. What? Do your daddy like him or do he not like him? Because we were confused. It sounded like the daddy like him, but at the same time, he kind of doesn't want anybody to run game on Charisse. And he knows that if he sees a lot of himself in Samson, then chances are there could be a possibility that game will be ran or some type of game is possible to be ran. Confusion. Samson is kind of alarmed with Charisse because Charisse does get aggravated with Samson during this meeting. So when Samson first got there, he came with some orchids because he thought he was going to meet the mama. I said, surprise. Okay, you wasn't going to get to use your charming ways on the mother. You're going to meet the father instead. So it's a little quiet. I don't know if they filmed it this way on purpose, but it seems like it's some tension at first. Then when the father asks what does Samson like about him, Samson says that he likes the fact that they both have strong family values. Charisse was instantly aggravated. She was just like, "Oh, I thought he was going to say I was smart or funny, that I just want him to see me for me." Charisse, just forget it. Like, just forget about it. If you feel like that answer wasn't good enough, you don't even need your daddy there to help you get through this process. You're obviously not feeling him in that way. He's not giving you what you want. Just let it go. You don't have to keep doing this. So then I'm still watching as I review. Y'all know that. Because I know something else is going to happen with the two of them. So then Samson is kind of taken aback when Charisse gets aggravated with the dad for saying, oh, well, he seemed all right. He seemed like a pretty good dude. You got to give him a chance to answer the question. He trying to answer the question because Charisse does butt in when he is answering one of the questions. She wants a little bit more clarity. And so then the dad says that Charisse is spoiled and she used to get in her way. And Charisse, her neck stepped back like, whose side you on? And I was thinking that too. Listen, I don't care if I'm a spoiled brat or not, daddy. You here for me. Okay, you don't get to talking about me in front of this man that you barely know. So like I said, I just don't know if her daddy was the right person that needed to be meeting anybody. Yes, he was honest about who Charisse is, because I do believe she is that person. But I don't discount out the fact that Samson does have some things and some ways about him that lie beneath the surface. And she tells her dad, you liking him too soon. I feel like you don't know everything. It's like, did you want your daddy to hate him? Like, why you introduce this man? You don't like him. That's the part that's aggravating me with Charisse. You don't like him. He's not giving you what you need. And I'm not saying you right or wrong for not liking him. I'm just saying you don't like him. Let's move forward. Samson is going to give what Samson going to give. He going to give gifts. And he going to tell jokes. He going to keep it moving. I don't think he likes her like that either, honestly, past the physical. What did y'all think about that whole exchange? It was weird to me. I'm ready for both of them to go, child. Okay, so... excuse me. So of all the parents, I definitely think I like Kayla's parents the most. I see where she gets a lot of her personality from. I enjoyed them the most. A few things I was just like, okay. But for the most part, I enjoyed them. And I think they made a good call. Now, Mike did well with Kayla's parents. I expected Mike to do well. Mike has been married before. He already has children. Like, this isn't his first rodeo. This isn't his first time around the sun. And he already told us, remember, he the plug. Randall, on the other hand, did not do as well, but it seems Kayla's father felt like he was more sure of what he wanted, Randall, than Mike was. Even though Mike was more confident in the process and Randall was more nervous, Randall did seem like he was looking for something that was, I guess, a little bit more stable and versus what Mike might have been looking for in Kayla. Only problem is neither one of them know if they really want Kayla or not, and that's annoying. So when they started out meeting with Mike, like I said, this is the one that went pretty well. There's a lot more laughter here. They're asking Mike what he thinks about Kayla, what he finds the most attractive about Kayla, what he would change about Kayla. And that was kind of the highlight of the conversation because he said nothing. Now, I think Mike was lying. Maybe he wasn't. But the dad was like, that's a strong answer. You wouldn't change nothing about her. But the mom asked, what would you change about your other connection, which was another good question. And I bet them two don't do nothing but quiz each other up at the house. But Mike said that with Brandy, he has to reassure her a lot more than he does with Kayla. And that's something that, kind of gives him some pause. The dad does ask, what he's wanting, what he's looking for. Do you have children? Do you have girls? Okay, so what would you ask your girls? And he said, well, my first question would be, what are your intentions? And he said, all right, there you go. Answer your own first question. So that part was funny too. The mom also asked some really good questions. It was one in particular that she asked in regards to, or maybe that was when she asked about his other connection. I think that was the best question that the mother asked, but they were definitely a good tag team duo. Mike was nervous a lot of the times. He had to sip his drink, but I think overall he handled it a lot better than Randall did as far as the questions go. And it was good to watch. But the dad in the end said, Mike, he came off as a lot more confident and he can see the chemistry between them, but he's not really sure as far as his answers if he really, really knows what he wants when it comes to Kayla. And when Mike left, he was like, there are some things I would want to change with Brandy, but, Kayla's confident and young and, she just doesn't have those issues. I don't have to reassure her. That gave me a lot of pause. It made me really think about just different relationships I've been in. And I never, it makes sense, but I never realized how unattractive, if that's the right term to use, but how it can be a little frustrating for your mate to have to constantly reassure you that they like you and they're attracted to you and they're still in with you. Because I used to have a lot of those problems, as you guys know. I said in when I posted that breakup video like last year sometime about my self-esteem and my confidence and my age, and that's something that I've really tried to work on this past year, because it can, it can get in the way of a lot of relationships. Nobody wants to hear you talk down on yourself. So yeah, or have to constantly reassure you that they're there. You know what I mean? So there's that. Now with Randall, the dad was asking Randall a lot of questions. Randall seemed confused sometimes, but tried to answer the best he could. He asked about what kind of qualities Randall was looking for, and he said, of all those qualities you said, Kayla is only one of them. So that's already making me wonder, which was like the outspoken part, or she'll speak up for herself. All the other stuff, I guess, it felt like, I guess the daddy felt like Kayla didn't have those, or maybe those weren't her main, her main shining characteristics, I guess you could say. What was the other thing he asked? He asked, can I trust you with my daughter? He says, yes, I'm a trustworthy person. He was like, okay, so you gonna use the word I gave you to define. He was sweating bullets. And then he asked him, what does love mean to him? And was he ready for love? And he was just like, well, love to him feels like home. And he starts talking about his grandparents and how his mom was also in his life. His dad was there sparingly. And the father was like, even though he wasn't around, you still spoke highly of him. And I was like, and that's a problem. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Like, maybe I'm seeing it wrong. Like, maybe the dad is saying, like, maybe that's a sign that you're not holding on to any hurt or bitterness, because you can still speak well of a person, even though they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But what I hope the daddy is not saying you should speak highly of somebody and try to understand why they weren't there, because I don't play those games with parents, moms or dads. If you don't want to be around, if you don't want to do what you have to do, I will not be speaking highly of you. That is a lot of the issue with a lot of these parents these days. They think they can go off and find themselves and do what they want to do and then pop back in your life, and you should accept them because they were just trying to get right for you. And wrong. I'm in my 30s now. You got me effed up if you think you're going to come around here and play daddy. You are now a friend. You are now just a friend. You are not, I will not be treating you the way you want to be treated. You missed that. Okay. You should have done it at 8 years old. Sorry. And I won't be speaking highly of you either. I'll just state the facts and we'll keep it moving. That's just me though. That's just me. But I just don't, I don't like stuff like that. You don't get no passes with me. But anyway, so he seems to like Mike's personality more, but feel like Randall is more sure of what he wants. But is it in regards to Kayla? That's what we have yet to find out. All right, so I'm going to get on y'all nerves on this review. I'm about to be on my soapbox head. If you thought I was on my soapbox just a little while ago when I was talking about that parenting thing, I'm really about to get back on it. Swayze and Kadian. It's a no. It is a no. Do I think they look good together? Yes. Do I think they're attracted to each other? Yes. Do I think they have fun together? Yes. They would work if it was a casual relationship with no expectations. Anything with expectations, Swayze cannot handle right now. I don't think it has much to do with his age or that he's not where he wants to be. He clearly has the career that he wants to be in. He already has a daughter. Like, I don't think it's anything to do with that. And I don't even think it's that he doesn't like Kadian. He does. I think he does like Kadian. I don't want to, I feel mean saying this, y'all. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but sometimes you just got to go with your equal. I think Swayze, he just a little slow. He's slow, like he don't, and I don't mean slow like classes. He could have been, but I mean slow like, have y'all ever dated somebody who, okay, so for example, let's say you're a very good communicator. You're very clear about your feelings. You're very expressive. It doesn't take you long to compute how you feel in your mind and get it out. There are some people, like, their own emotions confuse them. And when they're dealing with people who are very, like, quick to the point about how they feel and where they want to go and what they want to do, it's almost like a catch up. Like, they like in their head, like, okay, I hear you, but I need time to respond. I need to think about it. I used to be with somebody like that for years. And eventually I had to get to the point where I would just be like, all right, when you figure it out, come holler at me. But it takes a very patient person to do that. I know people who are married who took some time to figure that out. And it has developed a level of patience in me. So I appreciate that person. But in the moment that, ooh, it used to burn me up. I'm like, how you can't answer the question? Hurry up. Tell me. Because sometimes you're asking people questions that either nobody's ever asked him or he's never even thought about. Like he just don't. And I just don't think that's going to work for her. She has a very sharp mind. She needs somebody that's kind of witty, almost an asshole, somebody that's going to go back and forth with her, and to some people that probably does seem like a person that likes to argue. And I think she does have that in her. You know, she can be argumentative, absolutely, but it doesn't mean she doesn't have a point. It doesn't mean she doesn't have a point, because there are moments, a lot of moments, especially on one particular point, she does have a point. She said, I can't baby him. I can't, be talking around the subject. I could tell she was working real hard to try not to be the Kadian that I know she can be when she was sitting at that bar. But I just think she needs somebody who's going to match her intellect when it comes to certain topics, when it comes to how they express themselves. I just don't think Swayze is it, but I think that she has fun with him. And she probably liked the way he looked. Swayze not bad on the eyes, but Kadian, no. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And I know somebody gonna be like, well, Swayze is young. Swayze, I think, is a year younger than her, maybe 2. And honestly, you guys, he ain't 25, okay? He's 33. This is probably just who he gonna be. I know a lot of slow older men. They just slow, and they with somebody that's just like them. And it works. It works. But Katie, she got a smart mouth. She need to be with somebody that they can do that and find it sexy, because some couples love that. She needs that, and I think it'll actually be funny to them. So anyway, she says that she's asking him about romance and what he finds romantic, and so he's just like, oh no, baby, relax, chill, relax. That's not even a question where you would ask somebody to chill. She's trying to figure out what she can do to romance you, and to Swayze, it probably feels like she's doing too much, but it's really not too much. It's just a question. Hey, chill, relax. I don't want to be nobody insecure and argumentative. He said that when it came to the godmama, he liked it her. If y'all don't get the hell out of here. So anyway, okay, so Kadian is trying to practice some patience with Swayze, but it's just not going to work. She can't keep doing this with him. They don't have the same mindset, and it's just a no for me. But she did make a good point. She was like, it's too soon to have certain conversations when it comes to the future. But if you wanted to leave here and have sex, would it be too soon for that? Do you know this man came out his mouth and said, oh, it's never too soon for sex. See, everybody's an adult when it comes time to get in that bedroom. Everybody's so mature and thinking on their grown man when it comes time to get in their bedroom. I can't ask you any questions about how we communicate or what the future looks like for you, but you want to put your lips on my vagina. Does that make sense to you? I'm being too intrusive with your mind, but you okay with diving head first into okay. So, sorry to be lewd, you guys. You just got to go there sometimes. You want to see my whole coochie and the inside, but I can't ask you no questions. You got me effed up. You got me effed up, Swayze. It's not going to work. Talk about waiting on the other shoe to drop. All right, so the ladies meet up at the lounge, and nephew Tyler Perry, what the hell is going on? Where's Jacqueline? Why you was acting like you was ready to risk it all when Kadian walked in there with the other half of her leg out? You was way too intrigued. You was sitting up. You was looking over something and it wasn't nothing to look over. What was going on? When you look down at something like you trying to look around it and wasn't nothing to look around. That's how hard he was looking at Katie when she walked through there. But all right. Okay, I guess she was going to be misput it on. I didn't like that fit, but she looked good in it, if that makes sense. I loved, child, I forget the girl's name. The one that liked Mike. I loved her fit. I like all that tropical vibe looking type outfits. So the ladies meet up to talk about their different experiences. Now, Kayla said that her parents liked them both, and they did, but they did like Randall's answers better, if I'm not mistaken, than Mike's. They felt like Randall was a little bit more sure of what he wanted. But anyway, okay, Kayla, I see what you're doing, baby. Brandy, that's her name, did talk about the whole reassuring thing, and I could tell that Brandy was trying to play it cool with Kayla while they were sitting there, because she doesn't want to look like she's insecure. Now that's in her head. What I'm scared of for Brandy is that she's going to start changing herself to be exactly who Mike wants her to be. And I want you to remember, Brandy, that it's nothing wrong with making changes for a relationship, but make sure those are things that you actually want to change about yourself. Don't just start doing stuff, because a lot of times what happens is when the man doesn't appreciate it, or when he's not feeling it anymore, or not feeling you, you have this resentment for all the changes that you made, that you weren't even comfortable with. You were just doing it, just so they would like you. You always want them to like you for yourself first. But if your insecurities, or being reassured in a relationship, if that's something that you've been wanting to work on, then that's fine. But yeah, moving forward. So Charisse was the main hot button topic when it came to this whole meetup, and I want to just go straight to her. So Charisse gets emotional when it comes to talking about Samson. She was like, she likes him, but she felt like in the meeting her dad said it might be something that she's not seeing. And she said one of the things that she's not getting is the attention that she needs. Finally, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not saying it's true, but what I am saying is it feels good to finally know what it is Charisse is really wanting, because this whole open up thing, I was just like, open up about what? So she's needing to see more affection and probably more assurance that she's the one that Samson wants as well. Well, she's not going to get it, because I don't know why the ladies ain't been saying nothing. Maybe they didn't want to look like no hater, or maybe because this is the first time that they've actually seen Charisse this vulnerable, which is good. I wish Charisse would have shown her vulnerable side early on, and maybe people would like her on the show. Maybe the viewers would like her a little bit more. But she was like, even though she likes him, she deserves, somebody that loves her for her. And that is a hard realization to come to. I know people think it's easy peasy. Y'all folks with y'all good high self-esteem, God bless you. But a lot of us have, myself included, have completely changed just to receive love, and ended up on the short end, of that stick, feeling terrible about yourself because you just feel silly. Like, I did all of this just to have somebody in my life. That is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And at that point, I'm not saying when I say you have yourself to blame, I'm not saying beat yourself up about it, but make sure to love yourself first, and know that you got to be the most important relationship you have in your life, the one with yourself. So I understood where those tears were coming from with her. So then all the ladies shared that Samson is full of it, pretty much. Kadian said that he called her and was like, we got something special. I don't want you to go home. Even though she don't see that at all, and nobody else does. Brandy said the whole gifts thing just kind of makes it seem like I'm here for everybody. When they met up with the friend, he said that he had only wanted Brandy to be there. He didn't know why all the other women was there. And Charisse was like, wow, like, he ain't even really feeling me like that. So nephew Tyler Perry tells her to make a list of his good and bad attributes. I don't even think that's needed. Child boo. But I guess she's going to do that. And let's move on to what happened at the end of the show. Well, if Charisse isn't good at anything else, she is very good at pulling the mask off a lot of these dudes. Like, she really gets a rise out of them every single time. She's done it multiple times. So when she meets up with Samson, she pretty much confronts him about with the things that some of the ladies have been saying, but she kind of does it in a way like, some of the girls were talking. Kadian said this, Brandy said this, and he was like, oh, I need to do better with showing my interest and stating what my interests are. And she was like, right, because you are interested in me, right? And Samson is just like, listen, if I listened to what everybody said about you, you would have been gone. Now, see, this is the kind of stuff I don't like. So he starts addressing all these grievances about what Mike said and what Swayze said and what Zoe said and what all of these different people said, and even what her own father said. And she was like, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about right now. These are people's feelings. We're not just talking about chatter. And he was like, well, what about the guy's feelings? And she was just like, the ladies are in control. And that's the point right there for me anyway. Even though I don't care for Charisse, the point of the matter is, if you felt a way about me and my character and my characteristics, you should have brought those up. You don't bring them up when I'm trying to tell you, address a grievance with you. That's something I had to learn as well. Like, sometimes people would bring something up with me, and because I was holding something in, I'll be like, oh, well, what about when you did this? You should have said something. You don't get to bring it up when somebody's addressing their grievance with you. That's just what that is. Speak up for yourself. Don't try to speak up when somebody wants to tell you that you did something wrong. You had your time. You chose not to take it, Samson. Charisse believes that that's the reason why Samson couldn't get close to her, because Samson didn't like her. You know, he has been listening to what everybody said this entire time. His face was turning red. He was getting aggravated. I was just like, this sounds like things that Samson has been wanting to say to her. And so maybe she was right that he wasn't opening up. Maybe she did see some ways and some things about him where she realized that, you know, there was some things he needed to say and he was not addressing. Maybe so. But she was like, you don't even like me. So they go back and forth, and she was like, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do, because you're not ready to love. And Samson continues eating his food as she gets up and walks away. And that's the end of the episode. What did you guys think? Have you been feeling some type of way about Samson? I know people have been feeling some way about Charisse. What did y'all think about the episode in its entirety? And who do you think is going to be the last couple standing? I will see y'all next week for the next one. Bye.